The 20th century saw amazing advances in technology. Cars became common, but this progress came with a hidden cost: leaded gasoline. In the 1920s, scientists found that adding lead to gasoline made engines run smoother. This seemed like a good idea at the time. People didn't know about the dangers involved due to lead exposure. Lead is a potent neurotoxin. It harms the brain and nervous system. As cars burned leaded gasoline, they released lead into the air. This created a serious health hazard. People inhaled lead without realizing it. Lead also settled on the ground and in the water. It contaminated crops and entered the food chain. Over time, this led to widespread lead exposure, a silent threat affecting millions. The dangers of lead were not entirely unknown. Even in ancient Rome, people noticed that lead exposure caused health problems. In the early 20th century, some scientists warned about the risks of leaded gasoline. However, these warnings were often ignored. The companies that made leaded gasoline downplayed the risks. They argued that lead was essential for car performance. Meanwhile, people continued to get sick. Children were especially vulnerable to lead poisoning. They experienced developmental delays, learning difficulties, and behavioral problems. Lead is particularly harmful to children because their brains are still developing. When lead enters the body, it interferes with brain cell connections. This can lead to a lower IQ, attention problems, and even intellectual disabilities. Lead exposure is not limited to children. Lead had also caused a range of health issues in adults. These include high blood pressure, kidney damage, and even heart disease. As a heavy metal, lead can accumulate in the body over time. This means that even low levels of exposure can have long-term consequences. The damage caused by lead poisoning is often irreversible. It took decades of research and advocacy to phase out leaded gasoline. Scientists like Claire Patterson worked tirelessly to expose the truth about lead contamination. Finally, in the 1970s and 1980s, countries around the world began to ban leaded gasoline. This led to a dramatic decrease in lead levels in the environment and in people's blood. However, the legacy of leaded gasoline continues to affect us today. Lead is still present in our soil, water, and even in some older homes. We must remain vigilant in monitoring lead levels and protecting vulnerable populations from exposure. If you enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more content. Leave a message in the comments if you'd like to see a video on a particular topic.